Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of The Reluctant Leader. I am your host, Gajinder Bogle, aka The Reluctant Leader, and I am joined today by Surinder. And Surinder is not only an amazing reflexologist, she's actually my reflexologist. And I met her towards the end of last year, and she's been such an integral part of my own health journey. And when we were in conversations and just talking about her own journey, I just knew I had to get her on the show. So I am so excited to have you on, Surinder. And do you know what? I've learned so much about you just in the pre-session, which I didn't know either. So, Surinder, if you wouldn't mind introducing yourself before we get into the conversation.
Hi, Gajinder. Thank you very much, firstly, for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm Surinder, holistic reflexologist. I've been a reflexologist for many years now. Prior to that, I was in the corporate world for about 30 years. And some time, and did the swap, did the jump over
Transition.
into
Yeah.
holistic and alternative health, and have not looked back since.
Wow. So 30 years in corporate.
30 years
What
in corporate, it's a long
what were
time.
you doing? What did your life look like for those 30 years? What were you doing?
I was actually, I had a very rewarding career, actually.
Mm.
And I've been very blessed, very lucky with that. And one of the roles that I had towards the end, and where I was working towards the end of my career in corporate, was running global international teams. And I've travelled with my jobs. I've learned a lot in my jobs. I've trained people in my jobs. I've worked with some very difficult stakeholders in my job, but my job has been amazing. The companies that I've worked for, some FTSE 100 in Canary Wharf. I've worked in New York. I've worked in Germany,
Wow.
Sweden, France, Spain, Portugal.
How
I've worked.
incredible. And what did you do?
So I headed up international recruitment teams from a in-house perspective, not from an agency
Hmm.
perspective. And so my background is HR. And so I started off in HR, fell into recruitment as most people do, and then ended up working for European companies. So I've worked in France, in Paris, in Lille, used to step over the border quite regularly with my laptop and wheelie in the other hand, and went into European recruitment, and then went into international, kind of spread my wings a little bit, went into international recruitment. So that's the Americas, Australia, Japan, China, the other hand, on the other side, and then Europe in the middle. It was fun,
Wow.
really fun, really good.
Yeah. And dare I say, it sounds like a very different life to what you're leading now.
You know what? It was when I was in that role and when I was actually doing what I was doing, I loved it.
Mm.
It was amazing, and I wouldn't not have had that experience. But towards, and it is a very, very different life. It's very corporate. You know, you're in amongst
Yes.
some, you're a cog, yeah, in that
Mm.
wheel. There's lots of things that you have to perform at the same time. You're multitasking. You're working in an environment and a very, very different culture, but an environment and a culture of that company. And then you're dealing with people. So and people of different. In my case, people of different cultures, people in different countries. Um, it can be it can be you can be in a place where actually the culture and what you're doing soon becomes quite tiresome, yeah, and so doing something more creative appealed to me. So there came a point in my career when I thought, how much longer am I going to do this?
Mm.
Yeah. So while I was working, I did the reflexology diploma,
Ah, okay.
and that was for a couple of years at London School of Reflexology.
And Surinder, why reflexology? What was it about reflexology? Because reflexology and HR are quite worlds apart. So, what was it that pulled you towards reflexology?
To be honest, I always wanted to do something with my hands. I
Okay.
always wanted to do something with people.
Mm.
I had a natural inclination to actually. There were a couple of things that happened, yeah, and where I felt that I had this ability just to calm people down, and also I just kind of felt very drawn towards working with energy. The corporate life didn't really understand what I was talking about, and I couldn't really discuss it there, but I felt very drawn towards that. My mother was also a very big influence on me. So
Okay.
my mom, bless her, her bhajan kaur, that's her name, she used to actually say to me, look, if you press this point here and this point here, it relates back to this and stuff like that. So I kind of got into it from her. She also used to meditate quite a bit, and that calming nature, and I used to sit with her. So that kind of like radiated, I think, over to me. So I grew up in that environment. So I had my younger years, I grew up in this kind of quite calm environment with the Bart on in the back, in the background. My mom doing quite a regular meditation. My mom kind of influencing me with natural foods and also natural, just kind of like the touch, and in terms of the reflex points. Yeah, so that I think had a big influence on the way that my career took in terms of cutting over into an area that I actually felt very, very authentic. I kind of felt
Mm.
I'd landed,
And
once
drawn to, and so healing hands in essence, right? Healing hands. But then, Surinder, why feet? Obviously, not the first choice of anyone's in terms of touching someone else's body, but you kind of put your hands up and was like, I'll do the feet. What was that? What was
yeah.
that calling, or what was that pull to, use your hands to heal people through their feet?
So the practical thing is actually the feet are actually bigger in terms of your hands and the reflex points that you locate. Although everyone's feet, I go into a bit of technicality here,
Oh, we love it.
everyone's
Don't worry.
everyone's feet are slightly different anyway. And the technical, gosh, where's that? That always happens, isn't it? Sorry. Um, Everyone's feet are shaped differently, etc. But it's a bigger surface in terms of working. Um, I don't actually see feet as feet. I just actually see them as
Mm.
points, and the reflex points, and I see them as the soles of your feet. Basically, is where all your nerve endings are. For me, that's the most practical, and that is the place to go to in order to start your healing process, because then it kind of radiates upwards. So that all the meridian lines that kind of end up there, the areas that you unblock all start from some point, whether it's your hands, your feet, your face, your ears, but they have to start at some point. And so feet, for me, it's a means. It's the most practical. People actually come to me and say, "Oh, do I need to get a pedicure?" And I'm like, "Please don't worry, don't
Yeah.
worry." Don't worry about pedicure. Don't worry about about your feet looking in a certain way, because actually that gives me a lot of clues, and it gives me an insight into what could be happening,
Mm.
and where I need to focus and what I need to concentrate on.
That is so incredible. And, I shared at the start of this conversation that you have been an integral part of my own health journey. And it's really funny where you came in to the health journey aspect as well, because I've been doing a lot of work on my health before I came to see you,
Yeah,
but there were still some blocks. So, I was doing the workouts, I was doing the clean eating, I was doing all of this stuff. But there were still some other blocks that I didn't know, and you don't know what you don't know, right? You don't know which meridian is blocked or which pathway is blocked within
mhm.
your body. And I don't know why I really felt called to come and see you. I'd been following you for ages, and I was like, "Do you know what? Let me just go and see her." And when I did come and see you, I really felt like I don't know what you done, but you did do something, and it just cleared blocks I didn't even know about.
Yeah. Firstly, I'm really honored that you followed me, that anybody follows me. When they say that, I'm like, oh my God, really? But no, it's one of these, one of the beauties of reflexology and one of the USPs, I suppose, and what I do is I treat the body as a whole. So the reflexology is the main tool. That's what I do. I kind of focus on the blockages, I focus on the reflex points, etc. But I also, in that experience that somebody gets when they come to see me, is I do certain other things like like the breath work, the rebalancing, the relaxation, and that in itself helps the healing process. So if there is any residue left over from other modalities that somebody might have might be using, it will slowly just kind of clear. And the breath work, as you know, it's widely used by a lot of people. That helps to helps to calm the central nervous system down, your vagus nerve. It also helps you to relax, and that in itself, once you kind of get started, in itself is something which is it's just a beautiful
It
therapy.
it
Uh,
really is, and having experienced it myself, I know that I come in, I very almost always fall asleep, and I feel like I've slept for days.
mm,
It's probably only been about 5 or 10 minutes when I've actually knocked out, but
yeah,
it's felt like I've slept for days.
the rebalancing that happens with reflexology is amazing. It's
Mm.
amazing, but it's all the components put together. So the meditation, the music, so the
Yeah.
senses that it that are
All
affected, that
activated.
it appeals to. Yeah.
Amazing. Honestly, it sounds so, so incredible. And, how was the jump going from corporate to then
Mm.
working for yourself? So obviously you're working corporate, you started to study and train to be a reflexologist, and then you decided to make a jump.
Mm.
What was that deciding point? Like, did you always have it as part of your plan that you were going to run a business and do something for yourself? Or what was that pivotal moment that made that jump for you?
You're right about it being a pivotal moment, and you're also right about it me planning it. So there were two things. Hang on, just take some water. Hold on one sec. There were a couple of things, and firstly, when I was around, I would say I had a bit of a health scare. The health scare happened after I started my diploma,
Okay.
which was really interesting. And
Mm.
now looking back on it, I think that almost kind of happened. It was almost like the universe kind of saying to
Like
me,
divine
you know what,
timing.
you need to do this. You've just done this course. You absolutely love it. You need to step out there, girl. I had planned, because I am a bit of a workaholic. I I've also never depended on anybody. I'm a single mom. And so I had planned my retirement. This is how far I was
Wow.
thinking, which
Yes.
is a long way away, I have to say. But I'd actually
You're
planned
still
my,
only 21
yeah, I'm still only 21. I'd actually planned the reflexology as almost like a side hustle, yeah,
for your retirement.
for my retirement. And
Ah,
so in my
okay.
head, I thought, you know what, I'll have a couple of clients, some regular ones that will come to me. I'll be, the
And that's your
retired.
pension.
Yeah, I'll be the retired reflexologist in Sunbury, that kind of thing. And then what happened was I had this health scare, and that kind of gave me a bit of a jolt. I had to take some time off, and then I did the most natural thing. I applied for a job, got a job, but I just wasn't. My head wasn't there.
Mm.
Then I got made redundant again. Sorry, I got made redundant. Then I went and got another job. Within 4 months, I was made redundant. And this time I just said, and honest to God, I just said it out loud. I said, you know what? I'm starting this. I'm starting reflexology. My biggest blocker was starting it, was actually taking that first step.
Taking that leap.
Taking that leap of faith, but also having the confidence to do it. So as soon as, I hear and I've heard people saying, especially in the wellness industry, the universe pushed me, and I used to be like, yeah, whatever. But now I actually believe it myself. I absolutely believe that I was being given no choice but to do this. And the universe was saying, you know what, you need to go and do it. As soon as I said that, 3 doors opened for me.
Oh, wow.
And I went from mulling, should I do this? How do I do it? What am I going to do? All of this, to 3 doors opening up. In 1 week, I had 3 jobs in reflexology. And
Wow.
and I just couldn't believe it. I was like, oh my God. And as soon as I started to practice it, I'd already been practicing. I'd been practicing on friends and family. And every time I did friends and family, somebody would always say to me, you need to take this up. You're really good at this. I feel really good afterwards. And so I started to build up a small client base, but it wasn't big enough. Yeah. And so this client base wasn't just friends and family. It was now friends, family, and a few others. But it just wasn't big enough to earn a living. And, you have your bills to pay, etc. So when these 3 doors opened up, I was like, oh my God, this is one was going to give me a space. The other one was giving me a space, and I was taking over from somebody that was ill for a few months. So it was giving me the confidence and the confidence that I can actually do this.
And the
Being
clients.
in a professional place.
Yes.
And then, I was just overwhelmed. And so I took that jump, and I haven't looked back, but it was
Wow.
tough. Mentally and emotionally, it was tough. If I was to look back on it, I probably would think, what was I thinking? Why was I even thinking that? The wellness industry it's inspiring. It's massive as well. And there are so many people that just literally opened up their arms to me and said,
Oh, wow.
come on board,
Come
come
on
on board,
in.
come and network with me, come here, come there. And I
I
was,
love that.
I'm learning so much. And this is something that I was probably another one of my blockers. Will I just be doing reflexology? Will I stop learning? But actually, I'm learning so much, picking up so much information not just with the platforms, but we're talking to people, with networking, with some of the groups that I've joined. I've not been lonely at all, which is one of the things I thought. I'm coming out the comfort of a large environment, lots of
With
people around me,
teams. Yeah.
my teams, all these people above me, around me, below me, people that I can lean on when I don't know the answer to something. But actually, it's not been like that. It's been very, very welcoming. I would, if anybody's thinking of taking that journey and stepping in, I would say do it.
Yeah, 100%. And Surinder, you mentioned that one of the scariest bits for you was that first step. Can you share what was that first step that you then took that pretty much unlocked everything else for you?
Um, when I decided that I was going to do this, I mean, you have to plan these things as well. Things don't just fall into your lap, right? So one of
Yes.
the things was that I had planned it, I'd thought about it, I'd manifested it, but I had manifested something quite small originally. And then when I then decided, okay, I'm not going back to corporate, I'm going to do this, I actually put a number of things into place because I am a planner.
Hmm.
You know, working in corporate, you cannot.
Can't take
When
that.
you're
Yeah,
team, you
I'm with
can't
you on
not
this
be a
one.
planner. You can't not vision, and you can't not have goals. So there were three things that I thought about, and one was what's going to be my number of clients. So I kind of did some number crunching because practically you need to earn some money as well. And then the second thing I decided was that what is the service that I'm going to provide? Yeah. So then the experience, I decided to provide an experience and a story. Yeah. So rather than putting up pictures of feet and reflexes, which you won't see many of on my Instagram, I decided to do this is how you're going to feel
Mm.
afterwards. And the last thing was the money in terms of the expenditure, the setup costs. Yeah, that those were the three main things, and I decided to do it without any cost. So I decided to spend the least amount of money. And having worked in recruitment and social media, having set up branding, having set up in the startups, having set up in different countries before, where I was the pivotal person to do that, I decided I was just going to use social media and word of mouth and my networking. And I was going to give it a long time span, but that's what I would do. And that's what I did. So those were the three steps that I put into place. The most important thing is that you don't give up, because it's very easy to say, right, I'm going to take that leap. But actually, you need to take that leap with a plan
Yeah.
so that you're managing your expectations. Because if you don't have your plan, then you're quite likely to feel disappointed because actually your expectations are up there somewhere. My expectations weren't up there. My expectations were at build stage, which was down here. And that's what I kept. So I thought, right, I'm going to do this slow and steady. And obviously, if it doesn't work, if I do need to put in some money for it, I am going to do that because I want it to succeed. But I decided I was just going to do it word of mouth, networking. I was going to get myself out there and I was going to go onto Instagram. So everybody kept saying to me, you need a website, you need a website. And I'm like, I haven't got anything to put on the website. What am I going to put on this website? Because of course I was used to corporate world where, you know, the website is in depth, the website is, you know, deep this
Pages
way,
and
this way.
pages, photos, everything.
And I'm
Yeah.
like, what am I going to put on there? And I need to start working before I can put on something on there. And so that's how I took that leap. I don't think I would have been brave enough just to head for it. For me, I needed that template, that structure behind me.
Amazing. And yeah, do you know what? I think you're right. Sometimes we think we need a lot of stuff, and sometimes we feel we need nothing. And it's actually that bit in the middle where you have a little bit of structure, but you also have a bit of wiggle room where you can do some stuff without the structure as well and just see the magic unfold, right? See all the
Yeah,
magic unfold.
yeah. And also, it's also a bit of a litmus test as
Mm.
well, in terms of people will only, it's going to, if that's my strategy of networking and least amount of money in terms of the initial output, you know,
Yeah.
the initial outlay, if that's my strategy, then really for people to want to come to me, they've got to want to come to me. Yeah. So that word of mouth has got to be, that
So
experience has got to
strong,
be
isn't it? It's so
good.
powerful. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very, very powerful. But
Mm.
it's also a test on your own ability, because you can have the most amazing network, the most amazing structure. But yet, if you're not producing what the client expects, then you may not you have to kind of sit back a little bit and think, okay, what is it that my clients want, and then maybe kind of change it a little bit, that kind of thing. So I'm very conscious that I only provide reflexology at the moment. I am very conscious that that is what I do, but at the same time, I provide an experience. I provide a wholesome, holistic approach. And at the moment, that's keeping me very busy.
And it has. And I know you say you only provide reflexology, but as a client of yours, I can honestly say it feels like a full body massage.
Mm.
Like I leave there feeling like I've had a full body massage and all you've done is work on my feet.
Yeah, yeah.
So
That,
it,
that, that comment of yours, thank you very much, firstly, but that
you're welcome.
comment of yours, I've had that from a lot of people, that
Mm,
they've been quite surprised. And it actually plays to some people who don't want a massage,
yes.
who they, for whatever reason, it's not necessarily body consciousness, it's not an image or anything like that. It could be a number of reasons.
Mm,
And they feel that they've walked away with their whole body having been worked on, you know, and that's amazing. I love the fact that people come back to me with those kind of comments and those reviews. For me, it's very reassuring, that it is something that people want and that people are appreciating.
mm. Yeah, and also it's the effect it has is long lasting. So it's not just on the day or the time of your appointment where you click your back and your back's fine and that's it, you get on with your life. I feel the effects of reflexology starts before the appointment and the days after it as well, right? Like I've got an appointment with you tomorrow, but I'm sure I'm going to feel it well into the weekend.
Yes, yeah. The more it's reflexology is very gentle,
Mm.
but it's almost like when I talk to people about it, I do say to when they first come for the first session, I do say it's like an onion that you cut in half and you kind of
Mm.
delayering. The more you come, the more sessions that you have, the longer the effect is, and kind of it's almost like once it gets
Okay.
into your
Yeah.
system. Yeah, but I do have clients. I had I had one a fortnight ago where she came back to me the second time and she said to me, I said, how was it? Yeah, and she said, to be honest, I didn't really, I don't know what I was supposed to feel. I don't really feel anything. And so I actually said to her, you know what, I knew that. I knew that when you left, and I knew that when I was working on you. I said, you have over the years built so many barriers. You've got so many walls around you of she's a single mom. She's been through a lot. Yeah. I said, you've in order to cope in your life, you've built up so many walls around you. Then you've built up more walls that in order to get through and start to unravel you, start to unpick some of those and get to the real you, it's going to take time. And she said to me, you know what, you are right. So she's now at the age where her children have grown up, they've gone. She's in a good place in her career. It's now her time. And
Mm.
so, because it's her time, all these things are now coming to the fore. And she wants to feel happy. She wants to feel good about herself. It's the next phase of her life. So she started this journey. And the second time when she came, she sent me a message and she said, the emotions have started and the healing. And I said, you've started your healing journey. Yeah, because the emotions have got to, and whatever it is that she's built these walls around her, your body needs to catch up at some point. Your
Yes.
emotions and your
Yeah.
body they've got to catch up, and they will catch up. Otherwise, they'll come out in something else, like high blood pressure, diabetes, stroke, heart attack, or, God forbid, it could be anything, chronic illness, that kind of thing. And so I said, this release has got to happen. It will happen. It'll happen slowly, and we can manage it. And you've come to the right place. Reflexology will help you.
I love that. I absolutely love that. And you know what? I really feel that for that client as well, because, when you've been on your own journey and, there's so many blocks, we're conditioned to do things in so many other ways. And actually the healing journey is so soft and gentle. And sometimes we've got to accept that there's a delayed gratification. That's the whole point of alternative and holistic therapies, that there might be delayed gratification, where sometimes with more modern forms of therapy, we're looking for that instant fix, aren't we? That instant,
Yes.
I've had one session, I should be cured or healed or whatever it is. But sometimes it does take its time.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's got to take time. It's taken you a long time to get here.
For it to last as well,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, but also it's taken a person a long time to come to me.
To get here.
Yeah, and it's taken a person a long time to get into the meditation, or to get into the yoga, or to go to a sound bath, or etc. etc. Takes you a long time to get there. Once you're there and your journey starts, reflexology is complementary to a lot of those, and vice versa. But once you start, it takes time to delayer that, because it's taken years. For that pain settles in. I firmly believe that it settles into your muscles. It settles in somewhere, into your inner being. You have to rethink the way that you talk to yourself, the way that your body is. You're on this kind of delayering in order to free up and find that peace in you, so that the way that you see yourself, the way that you present, is a lot more happier. It's a lot more peaceful. That all of those things are the resilience that people have once they start their journey. The highs and lows that they have as well. It's you need support somewhere. Yeah. And we can do that. We can do that for you.
Amazing. And Surinder, you've painted a really beautiful picture, and, it feels like it's all sunshine and roses. Has it been all sunshine and roses, or have there been times where you've thought, do you know what? I want to give up, or I want to go back to corporate, or this isn't what I expected. This isn't the life that I'd planned. Did you ever have any of those feelings throughout your journey?
I think because my expectations started low.
That's the deal here, right? Start low, and it can only get better from there.
Yeah. I have. There have been times, and I'll tell you that the crux has been when I've been either ill or I've been away.
Yeah.
I've been away from work, and all of a sudden, I've had to cancel clients, or had to rearrange
funds go to zero,
clients.
don't they? If you don't work, you don't get paid, right?
Yes, exactly. So those have been probably the practical things, but also I think that there have been times when I've just thought, I've not rethought the reflexology. I've not thought that at all. I've not thought I'm going to go back to corporate, but I have thought, how else can I do this?
Yes.
Because my background, whether I've worked, I've explained a little bit, but my background has always been scale. You start something up, you scale it, and then you empower other people to carry on with it. Yeah.
Yes.
And so for me now, I'm an individual contributor. Yeah. And everything relies on me. Well, that's what I planned. Yeah. That's what I planned. So right at the start of my journey, in my retirement, this is what I'm going to do. I didn't expect it to snowball so much. I didn't expect to start my journey so quickly. And I didn't expect it to become a business, to be honest. Yeah. So that would be my only, sometimes I have thought, maybe I should have stayed in corporate for a few more years. I've had that thought maybe fleetingly. But I think my lows have been really when, I've thought, what, I'm on my own. But I know I'm not, because I've got a huge, there's a huge wellness community out there. But there have been those days when I've kind of thought, okay, I want to go on holiday for 2 weeks, but what happens, to my clients? Yeah. How can I manage this better?
And then what
Your
brings
brains
you
on that.
back?
I am going to be picking your brains on that. Yeah.
I know. Do you know what? That is a thing, because I don't want to digress, but my son was like, he would love to go and play for Liverpool Football Club over the summer holidays. And I was like, let's do it. And he's like, what? And he's like, let's do it. And he's like, what do you mean, Mum? What, move to Liverpool for 6 weeks? I was like, yeah, let's do it. And he's like, but what about your work? I was like, what about my work? I can pick up my laptop and go and work there. And that is a liberating feeling, that actually his dreams don't depend on my ability to work or not work, or, any of that stuff. But anyway, a conversation for another day. But Surinder, when you were in these moments, because I'm sure you're probably not in them now, but when you were in those moments of that down, of that low, of, I want to go back to corporate, or whatever those feelings are, what actually used to help you get yourself out of there? And, I'm just thinking if there's anyone listening into the conversation that has those feelings as well, because it's so normal for us to feel like that. But what helps you get out of there and back on track with your journey and your path?
I think one of the most, an important tool that I've learned is actually it's journaling. Yeah. And also,
so underrated.
Yeah, it's very underrated. Initially I thought journaling was just like diarying.
Yeah.
Diarizing and just writing what you've done that day, etc., things like that. Another thing, that in order to give me some inspiration, is I find somewhere to go. So it could be and it's all within the wellness industry. So I could talk to people. I could go to an event. I find that that's always very inspiring, and that does give you a lift, because
it reignites you, doesn't it?
Yes, it really does. It really does. The journaling was very important, because you can almost see your progression, and then you have to kind of almost give yourself like, be grateful for where you started, where you are right now. So it's almost like a gratitude journey that I was doing. I read a lot, and if people haven't got bored of me talking about Deepak Chopra, I read a lot. I read a lot of his stuff. And
really? Oh, do you know what? I'm going to write that one down as well, because I don't really read any of his stuff. So that'll be.
Oh my God! Well, I listen to him as well. His voice is amazing as well. So it's really good to listen to him. He's got a really nice voice.
Well, I've got my session tomorrow, so you might want to.
Yeah, one of the so that kind of like helps to reinforce what I'm doing as well. It helps to kind of keep me lifted, but also putting down some goals. As I said, I'm a planner. Putting down some goals, and they could be some little ones, but just kind of going through them and saying, well, actually, you've not done too bad. Reading my reviews for my clients is always good.
Always good, right? Always good.
Yeah. And I'm very grateful that I have a number of clients that do write in and do say things. But like, I'll give you a quote from Deepak, actually. I've written it down here. And one of his quotes is, creating your own reality is the richest gift you received at birth.
How beautiful.
Yeah. So that's, it's, if you, when you're in a job, or when you're doing something, I wouldn't say this is the job, when you're doing something that engages you, that has kept me going. It's because it plays.
Creating your own reality.
Yeah, I'm creating my own reality. It plays to my passion. It plays to my strengths, and it also plays to a world that I never thought I would create in the way that I have. So I think going back into, like, what is your vision? What is your
Mm.
goal? Why have you started this? It's not just about seeing the results, because you don't always see the results immediately.
And you
Yeah.
don't see the
And
results that you're expecting. The results are there, but they
yeah,
might not be your standard of results.
the results don't have to and shouldn't be monetary.
Mm.
Yeah, that's in order to pay your bills, right? But for me, it's not the monetary results. It's the value that somebody else receives having come to me. That keeps me going. And that all that mindfulness, the meditation, the kind of resilience I give them, the inspiration, all of that keeps me going. So when I have had my lows, I do think back. And I actually also have a cousin in India that rings me every now and again, and she just makes me laugh, you know, hysterically. So that always gives me a lift as well. And
I've heard her. She's the one with the salon or the saloon conversation that I walked into.
yes, yes,
And
yes,
she is. She's amazing. She lifted my vibrations as well when I heard that conversation.
yeah, yeah, she's amazing. But I mean, I also I do things like I love nature.
Mm.
I am a tree hugger, I have to confess, and I love walking in. I love walking on the grass in fields, barefoot. Um, so those are some of the other things that I do, and I connect with people.
Find your bliss, hey?
Yeah, find my bliss.
Mm.
Yeah, and
I love
keep
that. I
going,
love it.
keep going. Don't give up. You know?
I love it, Surinder. And we are coming up to the end of the conversation. I swear we could probably talk for ages. And I'm really glad I'm seeing you tomorrow, because then we can talk for ages. But before we do finish up, what's next? What is coming up next for you? Where do you see this next season of yours going, or the next era for you? What does that kind of
Yeah.
look like?
So one of the things that I said in the Shala group, the B plus group, is she asked for one word, and
Mm,
mine was growth.
okay.
Yeah. So that's what I would like to see. But growth isn't always the business growth.
Business growth. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
personal growth as well.
Yes.
So for me, it's not about kind of going that way. For me, it's growing this way, and it's covering some of the learnings that I feel I need. Maybe doing another, maybe introducing another modality
Mm.
into what I do. So that's something that I really do want to do. I do know what I want to do. I've been thinking about it. I've been looking at it. Done some research around it. I really do want to do that. Um, so that for me is important. I don't think I can ever sit still. I think I'm always learning, always growing, and that's something that I want to continue to do. I want to become like a subject matter expert in the areas that I am in, and just kind of get out there, enjoy
Yeah.
enjoy life as well.
Because there is so much to be enjoyed too, isn't there?
Yeah, yeah,
Oh, I love that. Thank you, Surinder. Do you know what? I've absolutely really enjoyed this conversation. I have known you for months now, and I even learned so many new things, which is really interesting. And it's quite amazing how you can know someone so well, but not until you sit down and have a conversation like this do you actually really get to know them. So it's been absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for being so open and so honest with your journey. And I'm sure it's helped so many people out there. And if anyone did want to reach out to you, what's the best way for them to reach out to you?
through Instagram and WhatsApp. There's a
Do you have a
couple of
website yet?
it's actually
But I
it's,
love
it's
it. I love
actually
the
going to
fact
get
that
built.
you're
It
living proof
yeah,
you don't need it.
it's actually going to get built, because I'm now finding that I need a scheduler, right, of some
Yes.
sort.
Yes, you do. 100%
Yeah,
you do. You
yes,
absolutely do. But Calendly works brilliantly in the meantime.
yes.
So you can
That's what I'm going
definitely use that
into.
in the meantime.
Yeah,
But amazing. So Instagram is the place to be for now.
Instagram.
And
There's
then
a WhatsApp link
maybe
on there.
Yeah, and maybe we can update this conversation, the details that will appear in this conversation once your website is live. But Surinder, thank you so, so much. Honestly, absolutely appreciate having your beautiful energy on this conversation in this episode. It's been absolutely amazing.
Thank you so
Thank
much for
you.
having me. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure.